Summer wheeling was actually a lot of fun this year. It kicked off with an absolutely epic trip to the Crow's Nest Pass. But throughout the summer season, the fires that had started in March continued to burn. Even during my August trip into British Columbia, a thick blanket of smoke from nearby fires covered the entire region. Views that were normally postcard-worthy were leaning more towards being apocalyptic. The fires finally let up, and we had an absolutely amazing fall wheeling season. A fall season that saw summer-like temperatures even as late as Thanksgiving. But now I'm looking forward to some winter wheeling. The only problem is, there's absolutely no snow.
Well, we're at it once again. We are on the Pembina Road this time, heading towards Redcap Mountain. We're not doing Redcap Mountain because that trail's gated off. But we're doing a trail that goes to the summit across from Redcap Mountain. I've heard this is a pretty aggressive trail. And we've got a pickup truck along with us.
When the trails are tight and aggressive, Jeeps just seem to have an advantage over full-size trucks. I am a bit jaded when it comes to adventuring in the woods with these large pickups, even with ones as badass as this one. Typically when the trails get tight, trucks get broken.
I've got a bad feeling about this run.
Southwest of Edson, Alberta lies the Cardinal Divide, an area which has seen heavy mining activity since the 1920s. Now, much of the area is reclaimed and protected. A handful of old mining trails cut through the crown land and form a trail system that weaves its way through a very dense forest. Shortly after making the turn off of Highway 40, yes, this is actually a highway, only in Alberta, right? I digress. We turned from Highway 40 onto the Pembina River Road, but shortly thereafter we veered off and found a nice little detour. There was even some snow. Initially, this unknown trail looked to be a dead end, but fortunately, this small creek was frozen just enough for us all to cross. While not overly technical at all, any break from the dust of Pembina River Road is appreciated. Even though it wasn't overly technical, the wheelbase of Scott's GMC was just a bit too long for this first of these curious mounds of sorts. He would end up getting high-centered. The short wheelbase two-door Jeeps need short work of whatever these things were.
So we made it through that fun little detour. I mean, that's what I love about these adventures. When you don't really have a plan, you just see a cool little spot and you find your way through it. You explore. That's what this is all about, is exploring.
We're back on the Pembina River Road now, and we're heading for the trailhead of the MacKenzie River Trail. None of us have ever done this trail before. All I was told is that it was a tight and aggressive trail. We honestly had absolutely no idea what awaited us. The trail started out somewhat open, but just a few moments in, the snow deepened and the trail narrowed.
I don't know. I think this is going to be a winch fest.
And the trail continued to narrow. Even when we thought that the trail couldn't possibly get any more narrow, it did.
Those mirrors are getting ripped off today.
It was slow going on this, the first kilometer of the trail. Fortunately, the pickup's mirrors did manage to get folded in. I kind of think it might have been by a tree. So there's at least hope that the damage will be limited to pinstriping only. Lots and lots of pinstriping. The thing about narrow trails is if you encounter an obstacle, you're going through it. There are no bypasses. We encountered the first of these obstacles. The path forward was blocked by deadfall. A lot of deadfall. If I'm being honest, the trail, which was clogged with a metric crap ton of deadfall, was starting to suck the fun right out of this run.
So what do you think of this?
I think it's boring.
How's this boring? We're in nature.
We're frozen in place.
We're not frozen. We're waiting because chainsaws, trees, tight trail. This is a little boring for me too.
The only joy we'll get is the truck getting stuck.
Yeah. You're going to take joy out of the truck getting stuck? But we're behind the truck.
Someone was in fact stuck, but it wasn't the pickup. It was Ryan's Jeep. He broke through the ice and was unable to free himself. So he hooked up his winch. And he wasn't moving.
It's like it's not going, it's engaging enough to take the slack out, but it's not actually. Last time I used the thing, I actually broke the little retaining screw that holds it, so I just got.
With the lead vehicle stuck, with a malfunctioning winch due to a missing retaining bolt, I was suddenly reminded of something I was told by a trail veteran on my last trip.
Make sure everything's working. Winch, 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 winch.
So what are we doing, guys?
We're going to run this snatch block through the tree saver, get the winch line through, and we're going to use my winch to pull him through here. And hopefully that'll solve it. Make sure your winch is working in proper order before you take lead.
Using some good old-fashioned trail engineering and a snatch block, that sounds so incredibly dirty, we were able to use Cody's winch to pull Ryan forward from behind. Ryan was free. Time for the rest of us to get through.
Oh, is that ice?
It took Cody and I just a couple tries, but we would make it through without any winching. Scott's truck also powered through very impressively.
My truck actually had less of an issue getting through what the Jeeps had there in that one hole.
Yeah, that wheelbase really helps it out.
I didn't get stuck in there at all. I just crawled through it basically.
But the group didn't make it through completely unscathed. The kitchen table-sized blocks of ice took their toll on Ryan's rear bumper, and the trees were also starting to wreak havoc on Scott's truck's paint job.
Oh, she's scratched. I'll have to do a good buffing job on her.
We were once again progressing forward towards our goal, the summit of the MacKenzie River Trail. Our progress was painstakingly slow. So around 3 hours in, and I think we've just gone 3 kilometers. We're starting to lose the light. We've got 3 hours of light left. So I've always wanted to do a nighttime crawl. Maybe I'm actually gonna get my wish.
You can't see the scary stuff at night.
Wonder if this trail was a little bit more than Ryan bargained for. I'm loving it. It's pretty fun. We reached a small summit of sorts, and we were gifted our first view of Redcap Mountain. When I saw what we still had to tackle, it really sunk in how little progress we had made over the past 3 hours. The only way we were making it to our goal was if the trail would stay clear of deadfall.
Hold up, coming down the hill. I just started sideways a little bit. I figured I'm off the ground.
Ryan did his absolute best to clear out as much deadfall as he could.
Give me a bit to clear the trail.
But as capable as Scott's full-size pickup is, it was just too dang big to make it any farther without body damage. Scott and I backed up to the clearing just 100 meters behind us. It would be Jeeps only from here on in. Even though there wasn't a lot of snow on the ground, the forthcoming climb was on the verge of what is possible on winter trails. A typical grade on most winter runs, like the descent into the Ghost River Valley, doesn't exceed 7 to 10 degrees. Trapper's Hill at roughly 8 degrees has been known to cause issues. Even the descent into Ruby Creek doesn't top 10 degrees. Both this descent and the upcoming ascent tipped the inclinometer to 15 degrees. Fortunately, the spotty snow cover revealing patches of dirt, combined with deadfall, seemed to help with the grip somewhat.
This area looks rough.
This is what he was sawing.
Oh, I see.
But there were large sections of this hill that were purely covered in snow. And this section was the most concerning. Not so much for the climb down, but rather for the climb up on our way out. As if we hadn't had enough challenges on this trail already. Fortunately, we met in the most opportunistic spot on the entire trail.
Okay, well, tell him there's one more coming. I guess I'm almost there.
They didn't look impressed, either with us or the fact that they failed to reach the summit, and were forced to turn back due to running out of fuel for their chainsaws. This just didn't instill me with a lot of confidence that we would be able to proceed much farther ourselves. As steep as this section was, the wet, sticky snow was providing amazing grip. However, it was currently a balmy 8 degrees Celsius. If the temperature dips below freezing, this wet, sticky snow would turn into a crusty, slippery layer of ice. In just over 4 hours, we had only covered 3.7 kilometers, and we had, at most, an hour of good daylight left. With 10.5 kilometers of trail between us and the summit, the realization that we might not be able to reach the goal was starting to sink in. I hung back to clear out a spot just in case we needed to turn around.
So I made a nice little spot here to turn around. I knocked down some dead trees. It's all good. Don't forget a saw. It's always good to have a saw. Even a manual chainsaw is best, but if you got a manual, that's great.
Cody and Ryan, with Scott riding shotgun, had scouted ahead to see if the trail would open up at all, or if it was just more of the same. The scream of Ryan's chainsaw indicated that it was going about as well for them now as it had been all day long. The scouting report from ahead was that the trail did not open up at all. Not only did it not open up, there was more deadfall coming up. We also had some deep washouts to navigate. Given how little daylight was left, we wouldn't be making it to the summit of the MacKenzie River Trail today.
Really curious if we're gonna have enough grip to get out of here. I mean, we kind of need the sunlight to keep the snow soft, but honestly, these guys are taking a little while to back out of wherever they're at. So if we lose the sunlight, that hill up there is going to turn to ice, and then we've got a problem. So it's really a race against the clock now.
Ryan managed to get turned around, but he had found one of the few mud holes on the trail.
Stay up there. Stay up there. I kind of knew that was going to happen.
But this time, he manages to free himself on his own.
Yeehaw!
Not stuck if you can move.
We definitely made the right call leaving the truck at the top. Turning it around in this wouldn't have been any fun at all. We started the steep climb back. The sharp off-camber section was a challenge for my passenger, who takes a bit after her mom. For me though, this section was a ton of fun. Off-cambers are one of my absolute favorite trail features. Just as it was on the descent, the snow was still quite soft and was offering a decent amount of grip for the steep climb up. And all three of our Jeeps made it back to the clearing.
That was awesome. Too bad we couldn't make it all the way, but had to come out with more guys and chainsaws. Make the trail wider.
We weren't out of the woods, as they say, just yet. We had one more steep climb. But this time, the truck has to make it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
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 Wow.
Make sure I'm
One
third
winch
again.
down, a truck without one.
Yeah.
Hey, for this next one, let's change up our deployment a bit. Cody, can you take point with Scott and Ryan in between us? I'll hang back just a bit. I need some drone footage anyways.
Are we clear? We reached the base of the hill for what will be our final climb on the day.
Hands are all sappy.
Midway up the climb, the full-size truck had a few struggles pushing its massive girth up the hill. Fortunately, no recovery was needed. And for anyone keeping score, the recovery count remains tied.
Piece of cake.
With the climb behind us, now we only needed to navigate the narrow trails. Now I've been on skinny trails before, but this one is on a whole new level. Clearly the bulk of the traffic this trail sees is from ATVs and side-by-sides. We definitely appreciated the open sections of the trail when we encountered them. They just never seemed to last for long stretches.
Oh yeah, we get to go through that ice again. Wonder if Buddy's gonna get stuck.
With only 1 kilometer left, we were approaching the waterlogged obstacle that hung us up for nearly an hour on the way in. This time around, it was simply a matter of driving through it.
Man, now it feels like a freeway. It's so wide open. That was probably the ugliest 3 kilometers or 6 kilometers of wheeling I've ever done. It was nasty.
We emerged from the MacKenzie River Trail relatively unscathed. Maybe a couple hundred more pinstripes. and possibly a bruised ego or two from failing to reach our goal. That being said, I don't like to lose, but to be completely honest, I was just happy we made it off that trail without any injuries or any major damage. The question is, would any of us do this trail ever again?
If it was cleared out, yeah. Not worried about the scratching. We've gone down some pretty gnarly quad trails and it's already had some pinstriping on it.
Yeah.
So pretty much, it is what it is. It's getting used for what it's getting used for. I don't think I've had that much roof rubbing ever.
After that first trail had its way with the full-size pickup, I was skeptical how this massive beast would do on the tight McKenzie River Trail.
Came out with the best case scenario.
Yeah.
I didn't come out with any fucking dents or anything like that. It went through everything I'd put it through, so I'm gonna stick with the truck, but I might try and buy a beater Jeep or something like that. See what happens.
Yeah.
And you gotta watch for where it hooks, right? If you stay straight, you're gonna end up
Yeah, I
going
know
that
where it
way.
cuts back real hard.
Yeah, where it cuts back real hard, you go down that way, and
Yeah.
the rest is simple.
What's going on?
Talking
Sharing
about the
some
route to
roads.
Ruby. Yeah, it would have been much nicer to get to the destination. Might stick around tonight and do Ruby tomorrow. And just so you get to a destination.
As for Ryan, our fearless leader, who probably spent more time behind his chainsaw than the wheel of his Jeep, he was undeterred.
Tight. Don't do it if you like your paint. But if you don't mind a few scratches and you got a chainsaw, give her a go, widen it out.
Would you do it again?
Yeah.
You want to make that summit, don't you?
Yeah. Have to just plan a trail cleaning day and come up for a weekend and pack a tent and clean as you go.
As for me, I would like to have made it to the washouts, but in hindsight, I'm kind of glad we didn't. I'm still not convinced we had the right group to spot our way through them.
So there's times when you don't make a destination and it really bums you out. And there's other times where you don't make a destination and you couldn't care less. For me, this one is the latter. Like I was told beforehand that this is a really tight trail, so I didn't have any delusions that we would have anywhere near enough time to clear that trail enough to make it to the summit. I like getting to the destination. I don't like giving up on the destination. But sometimes, it's just not meant to be, and this just wasn't meant to be. But nobody broke anything. We didn't have a whole lot of troubles on the trails. I was actually pretty impressed with the truck. Unlike Dodge Ram guy from a couple of years ago at Ghost Falls, which was a gong show, this guy was a wheel. He knew how to drive. I feel sorry for his clear coat, but at the end of the day, we all knew what we were getting into.
Would I do this trail again? Maybe. For now, this is an adventure that I will happily forget. Unlike my first failed attempts to Ruby Falls and to Marble Mountain, I have absolutely no desire at all to conquer the McKenzie River Trail anytime soon. It's time to refocus and scout out some winter wheeling spots for January and February, hopefully in BC, so stay tuned. And don't forget to subscribe, and as always, I'll see you all out on the trails.